Yeah, that's definitely true. I was just having this conversation with a girlfriend of mine yesterday. Have you ever walked into a bathroom and like that the person that was in there before you has like an STD
or like a infection or something? Yeah.
Stanky.
And how do you not know though?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like I'm aware of this might be too much, but I'm aware. Are we starting? Should we wait for this?
We're gonna go right into it.
Okay.
I was gonna wait till a cut
I just
to
feel
introduce
like you'd
you.
be like,
start
you'd
to
be
explain. Like you're aware. Like I know when my period's about to start. That's how
I know when Tasha's period's about to start.
It's not a bad smell, but there's a smell. Like
Yeah.
how do you not? And I feel like when I was like 12 or 13. Some boy, I probably made it up because we were 12 or 13 in the 90s, said vaginas could smell. And it ruined my life. Every day for the rest of my life, I'm terrified of that.
You're bent over checking, just making sure it's fresh.
Yeah,
we like to start every episode based on the pungency, is that a word, of the vagina. Hey everybody, welcome to the SAP. It's boy Dave Neal with Tasha Courtney
Hello.
and Kym Kral. Thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us
for
today.
coming.
I know, that's fun.
We kind of got to know you on your podcast, the Kym and Ken show. The Ken and Kym show?
It's the Kym and Ken show.
Okay, but ladies first, the Kym and Ken show.
Oh no, Ken let me know that he let me have Kym first because he didn't ever want his ego to get involved.
But you guys were called. What were you called before that?
We were That's Fucked Up, and then iTunes with like every
Exactly right.
Yeah, iTunes. We try to do advertisements on like Facebook or Instagram, and
Yes, we've gotten denied also because we were the Sex Actually podcast. And then when we changed to the SAP, our URL, like there was still some like ghost URL, something that would like get us like not approved.
you can't say sex on iTunes. Like,
On Facebook's
get
the most
fucked,
Facebook's the most Puritan with their advertising everything, and I kind of get it, but also it's like people are literally shooting up mass shootings Facebook Live you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In New Zealand, and yet the SAP's risque. We can't be promoting.
Facebook is like, I had a girlfriend who got put in Facebook jail because she took a picture of her pregnant belly and it looked like she didn't have pants on because the belly went over her shorts. And I'm like, I had a guy on Facebook threaten to, sorry, this is graphic, but threatened to rape me and sent me like a bunch of like really scary messages.
And they don't do anything
You know,
about
Facebook
it.
said, we'll block him for you, but like the best thing to do is just ignore him and he'll go away. Like the pregnant woman was put into, so like Facebook.
I love the idea of Facebook jail. Like it's Mark Zuckerberg in the Green Mile. He's got like that large keychain just walking around like Tom Hanks. Like it's all algorithms for the most part.
Yeah.
So like I get it if something says sex. I mean, imagine if they didn't kind of censor things, how it would be the Wild West of just like clickbait this and that. But then you get instances where like clearly you're being harassed or even is that an assault? What is that? What is that when you're being threatened? Is that counts as an assault?
Harassment,
right?
yeah. And I know for sure this is a comic. I don't know if he's still a comic, but air quotes. I knew, and he was known in the community around 5 years ago of doing this, finding girls on Facebook.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Do we say his name? I don't care.
You can.
Anthony
Yeah.
Bubelitz.
Bubelitz. Yeah.
Bubelitz, yeah.
He was just notorious as like this sort of troll comedian.
Yeah.
And luckily, I mean, when that's the thing that's scary is if he ever did that shit in front of other male comics, I assure you we would have your back.
Oh yeah, nobody would ever let that.
Like sure, a male comic might be trying to fuck.
They hide in the dark.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird that like every girl knows a woman who's been raped, but no guys know a rapist? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good way.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
like every girl knows a sexual harassment story. Probably everyone has one.
Every one of us has something that's happened,
right?
Yeah.
But like guys are like, I don't know, I just never see it. I never hear about it. Does it really happen? You're like, yeah, every day.
Yeah, all of us wouldn't be lying. We didn't all get together and be like, "Hey, we should really take over.
We should just make up this thing."
Yeah,
but also like, and I can't imagine though being a parent of a son who's accused of rape. I can't imagine that because it's like you do want to believe in your own people, but at the same time you're not. You know what I mean? Like all the issues that we've had. Well,
and then there's like that confirmation bias too. That like. You want to believe that like you raised someone better or that your friends are better than this. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you hear friends that are like harassers and you're like, oh, and yeah, you want to believe they're better. You're like, I don't have that experience, but then you don't want to look at the girl who tells you that and be like, that's not real. Like it's I think the kid thing though, I don't know. Because you fight for your kid. Like,
do you watch what is it? Big Little Lies?
No.
Oh, girl, it's so
Is it-
good.
is
It's
it?
HBO. Yeah, it's
I'm going to
really
summarize
good.
it because if Tasha summarizes it, it'll be 5 episodes from now, and she's on episode 2. It's basically there's a
book, right?
there's a lady who's Meryl Streep's
Season
son
2, Meryl
had
Streep
raped
comes
another
in.
character, and he's so she
But
doesn't want to
She just
believe
like
it.
can't get it through her head that like her son was a monster.
And you, as the audience, has seen him be the monster.
Yeah, you know he's a monster. Yeah, but
How is he to her though? Like, you know what I mean?
he's-
Like, is
I
he?
don't want to spoil it. There's a whole thing. You're gonna have to
Okay,
watch it.
I might
don't-
watch it,
Someone's
actually.
listening. Like,
I'm-
I haven't gotten to that yet. It's all right. Look,
it's a really good.
I'm notorious for liking to
It's a
spoil
book.
things on mine. Okay.
It's a book, but they made it into a show on HBO.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, look, we like to tackle rape issues right off the top of the
I know
bat. That's where we like to start.
How
with
your
here at the
vagina
SAP.
smells, and how do you guys feel about rape?
Yeah,
Let's-
that's we like to really.
warn
Well,
you.
it's nice because if someone was wondering whether or not they should listen, please bye bye. If this isn't for you, like we're gonna keep going. You know, we like to have a litmus test at the beginning of every episode, talking about the smelliness of my balls, which I think are pretty good. I don't know. I wouldn't know how I smell, Tasha.
I feel like you're
Am
the
I
only one
right?
in the room that probably knows this.
Yeah, that would be a surprise.
I'm like, I've
Well-
heard a few things, but I don't want
Just
to.
keep up showering
I'll tell
every
you
day.
this:
Use
I've been
soap and
in
shampoo.
bars in my single days, even now, and I can walk by and sometimes you can smell a vagina, not necessarily a bad smell, but you just know that somebody's dumping pheromones onto your shoes. You just know it's out. You can just smell that it's out there, and you go, either that's someone's doing
I'm
a stinky
pretty
dance.
sure
stinky leg.
pheromones you can't actually smell. I'm pretty sure it's like a
I'm
not
saying,
noticeable smell.
I think-
Isn't that
Yeah,
true?
I don't think I've ever smelt pheromones before.
well, whatever
I think
it
it just
is.
makes you think that somebody's sexy. Like
I think you're just smelling a
if
vagina.
You smell someone and you like think they're hot is probably pheromones, right?
I don't know.
Because sometimes vaginas are more ripe. I don't know. Not in a bad
Yeah, they're
smell,
they're
but
like pulsating, just like a woman can have their like rouge cheeks, and she's like ovulating. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We are not
There's-
experts, and people are very confused.
I
that
mean,
are
look, but
listening right
other
now.
animals, their like asses light up red, right? Don't the baboons aren't there other animals that when they were like presenting, they're ready to fuck? Like we're way more subtle. Like they actually said that men we're in the only species that women don't give off like overt like instances where they're ready to procreate because that women choose to partner. You're
We're
looking
not
at me.
like the birds on planet Earth that are like dancing
Yeah.
and flashing their feathers.
But there's still ways to know. There's still, you know what I mean? Like, like your cycles. I mean, guys don't, but like, if they,
there's apps for that.
but like why do your tits swell up? What does that mean?
That's
getting
probably
ready
the
for a
overt
baby.
signal. That's
Isn't-
probably what it
I'm
is.
just
Like,
saying.
hey, I'm ready to go. My boobies
isn't
are
your
really
body
swollen right now.
Your body's getting ready to have a baby right before you have a period. Like your body's like, oh, I'm gonna get ready to not have a baby, but get impregnated, right?
None of us.
Yeah, I guess
I do not think I'm gonna have a
No,
baby
that
right
makes
before,
sense.
but like, your
Yeah.
body. So your
Just in
breasts
case
swell,
we're
like,
ready to go.
and then you drop the egg, it doesn't get fertilized, and then you bleed.
There you go.
I think that's how it works. But like,
7th grade. Let's do a checkup on
I blacked out during the entire. I think it was 5th grade. That little book. I
Wait, you guys had sex ed in 5th grade?
I think so. Yeah.
I think the earliest we would have had it is 6, but probably everybody had it by 7th and 8th.
Yeah, 7th we had a class called what was it? It was like life skills or something like that. We watched what was that? Rebel Without a Cause. Like it was the dumbest class, but my dad was really mad that they were going to teach me like life skills, and that was his job. And I was like, please don't make us drink. Like it's junior high, and I'm already not cool. And so like I went in, and then the class was like, I'm like, we watch stupid movies, and then some old 50-year-old guy talks about nothing.
What did they mean by life skills?
I don't know. I still don't know, but we had to sign like a permission slip. I bet this guy this wasn't his class, and they were like, listen, Larry, like
I think this is what you
Like-
should. This is what should happen. Okay, I think I've come up with the answer to all of these issues. I think just like spoilers. Like at some point, you can say the ending of Game of Thrones. At some point, you give a courtesy week. So if by 5th grade you haven't taught your kid birds and the bees, you've lost your chance, Larry. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like so at some point, let the teachers teach it. Have that education happen. And if you want to slip in your own sort of methodology. We talked about this last week, how like I didn't even know where the vagina was, and it was a whole mess. Like we talked about how
old were you when
42. I was
Still
I
unclear.
probably really figured it out at 12. That's when I saw my first like porn. That's when I was like, and it really took me aback.
And by porn, what do you mean?
Real porn. It's 1970s.
Like a VHS?
I remember it. Yeah, VHS.
Yeah, I was like, where did you get that?
Yeah, full VHS. And then it was the dudes just stroking a very dormant cock. Huge. So this is the problem: is you see that and you go, all dicks are big. My buddy Joel, who showed us, I saw my buddy's dick, huge dick.
When you were 12?
Huge dick.
At 12?
Big time. Big time dick.
Where's
and
Joel
then
now?
Joel, Joel, subscribe to the podcast. Really nice guy. All of my
He's tall.
Is it?
No, different Joel.
Oh, okay.
That Joel, I didn't see his dick till years later. That was college.
So you all have seen each other's dicks. Like,
I mean, yeah. So I've seen his dick, and then
I guess I've seen all my girlfriends
all of
naked.
my friends growing up didn't have dads. I didn't have a dad. My best friend, we all were these kind of like lost boys. And I mean, we weren't like jerking off in front of each other, but you're watching a porn, and then the guy's got you see a dick once in a while. We're not all jerking off watching the porn.
Wait.
But guys do
But
that.
your buddy had his dick out?
Yes, I was
while
dick.
you watched
He whipped
the
it out. We were on different couches.
Was he stroking it?
He might have.
Was it excited?
No, but it was big. Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't
And then second dick.
correct?
The second dick I saw was my cousin's, who's got a big dick.
How old were you
Big
then?
dick. Probably within a year. So all I've seen are these huge dicks. I got a light switch. Okay, I'm 12. I haven't even thought about puberty yet. I'm 12, and I go, Jesus Christ!
You meant now. I was like, oh my God, we got really real really quick.
Nah, mine's like it's fine. You know what I mean? It's like if you were at an art show, no one's blogging about it, but you're like, that belongs in an art show. It's a fine. I don't have an art show dick, but my dick fits in with. If you saw like some movie where everyone's dicks are hanging out, you wouldn't stop and pause and be like, look at Dave's dick. You'd be like, that's his dick.
That's a dick.
Yeah, it's a dick.
It's a dick.
It's a dick.
I think that's the kind of dick I would want to have. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want a huge dick. I feel like that's too much.
That's just a lot of
Incognito.
A small
pressure.
one, that's a nightmare your whole life, and there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it. Like
There's-
we can get breast implants, we can do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Dick, that's it. That's what you have. And then
Yeah.
I talk about this with a school shooting. Like, men will fuck any type of women. Men will fuck you. Women don't become school shooters because they're not like left out by society. But there's some of these weirdo dudes that like in third grade, some chick was like, you're retarded or whatever they would call the kid. And then he lost all of his friends. And then for years, just bitter. But it doesn't go the other way because men are so attracted to women. You can have a shitty haircut. We don't, the fucking Jezebel bangs. We don't care. We're coming after you. But if a guy isn't like molded with like older peers or older brothers or a dad to like be a normal functioning member of society, they have the chance to become batshit crazy. You know what I mean? Or like a guy's a pencil dick and no one wants to talk to. We had a guy named Dallas in 8th grade that they caught jerking off in the biology class.
like in the class, during
he had
the
to
class,
switch schools.
during the class.
He had total school shooter energy.
But why the hell was he doing that?
We don't know.
No one asked.
No one asked.
Oh man.
Probably didn't have any friends to tell him that ain't cool.
Well, everyone knew it wasn't cool, but he had this kind of. I mean, that's a whole different issue. That's like a guy who has to jerk. That there was something else to it.
There's like
But
an addiction there, or like something happening
addiction.
at home.
I don't want to run away with my point because I don't remember what it was, but yeah, I saw a lot of big dicks, and then if the longer though it took years later, I found out my dick was just fine. You know what I mean? So like I thought I was like afraid.
You had a complex that you
thought
had
you
a
had a
very
small one?
small.
I think a lot of guys do. If they're looking at these porns and they're just seeing fucking hogs of dicks, that scares people.
That's sort of like a thing. Like that's why I think it's important. I follow this Instagram account. I really like it. It's called the Vulva Gallery, and it's like all these different vaginas. I feel like
I want to follow that.
right. It's
Yeah.
good. It's not real vagina. It's paintings. It's
Okay.
paintings of vaginas. And then like we went to this art show a couple weeks ago. And there was this artist who had made wallpaper, and it was all these like weird looking dolls, but they all had like boobies and vaginas, and it was nice. I was like, I'm gonna put that in my little girl's room, and Dave was like, really? Like there's pubes.
Well, letting him know
But,
like you're not. There's so
body
many
diversity. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Like, don't say it like I was against it. Just some of them were like, doing like the cheerleader moves. They were like full, toe touches. It's like, all right, easy there. Fucking.
But I think it's important because if you're only like sort of introduction, well, and we've made it this way in our society, right? Because we can't show boobs on TV. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we can't.
like that's just not normal. It's not normal. Like nudity is not normalized in our society the way it is in some other societies.
Most
so
other.
people's only like exposure is what they see in porn, which is unrealistic.
Which is usually
bleached
perfect.
assholes
And the chicks,
and like
and the chicks are just
giant.
fucking bukkake, all these crazy.
What is
semen
bukkake?
loads.
Everyone has a different answer.
Bukkake's when a
And
bunch of dudes
I
jerk
can't
off on a girl's face.
Spell it, so I can't. See, everyone has a to Google it. I'm
That's
like,
the pretty standard one.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Someone else said, "What's mouth to?"
No, that's ask them out of the ATM. That's different.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a lot of people writing in right now.
So sorry.
What was the first penis you saw? Was it like a? I mean, aside from like maybe walking by your dad's, where there's always like a family.
There's always
you see a family.
I was a late bloomer. Are you ready for this story?
Please.
It's not. I don't look good in it. I told this my freshman year of college to a boy I liked, and he liked me too. And then we like bonded, and he was really nice about it. And then I rejected him, and then he went to a party and told literally everyone for the next like 3 years. So like it's already out there. It's just like it's always. So I used to hang out with these boys in high school that went to another school because I wasn't popular. So like once we hit like junior year, we found these guys that went to an all boys school, and there was this guy Rick, my senior year, who worked at a place called Fiddler's Green in Colorado, and he said he could get us get us backstage. I was a late bloomer, said he could get us backstage passes to NSYNC. And we were like, really? And he was like, yeah. And we're like, well, what can we, like, we want him. And he's like, well, what are you guys going to do for me? Yeah, of course he said blowjob. And then my girlfriend and I talked for a little bit. She's like, I feel like you should do it. So I was like, yeah, she sucks. It's so bad. This is my first like real sexual encounter.
You volunteered like Hunger Games style.
Oh yeah, and then I was missing my teeth.
Oh, there you go.
I have two false teeth. Now they're implants, but I was missing my teeth.
You have missing your two front teeth?
I mean, no, the two middle ones, like these and those two are fake.
Okay.
And so I had a flipper. But I was like, I'm really scared this thing will fall out. So we're like, Rick, I'm going to blow you, but we got to go down to the grocery store and get some polygrip so I can glue my teeth.
And wait,
in.
sorry, how old are you?
17.
Okay.
Oh. So we go down, we get it. Oh my, and I'm so nervous. So my girlfriend's like, I'll just sit in the room with you.
Is this your first blowjob experience?
First blowjob and seeing a penis outside of like walking by.
But very well planned by you. I mean, you've got a trip to the Vons to get some polygrip.
We went down there, we got it, we walked back. I'm like, am I going to do this? She's like, how bad do we want to meet in sync? I don't know why I never asked. Why the fuck can't you do it? Like, this girl had kissed a bunch of dudes. She's like seen a penis. I'd never anything. I'd kissed a guy, I think I kissed one boy at that point. So she's like, I'll be in the room with you. And I'm like, okay, good. So she sits and holds the door because we're at a party. So all the dudes are trying to get in, trying to figure out what we're doing. So she sits against the door, God, and I just start doing what I think is a blowjob. And it's taking so long. And I found out later it's because he never had one. I'd never given one. So it wasn't like...
There was a lot of nerves there.
There's a lot of nerves. And then
not to mention, there's really no blowing involved. So that throws people off a lot.
Oh, yeah. I knew I had to suck it. I didn't know what I had to do about anything
Lick and
else.
Stroke, please.
And it was so big. I mean, like, I remember just putting it in my mouth being like, God, how do we do this forever? Like, it was so big.
It really was a big dick.
I don't know if it was a big dick.
In hindsight, it just felt big.
I think
it could have been big, but you...
I'm tall, and Rick was taller than me. So I'm sure, like, he was a big dude. Like, he's muscly. So then after, I think, 20 minutes, I was like, Catherine, I don't want to do this anymore. And she said, okay, turns on the light, and then there it is, and it's huge. And I was like, oh, my God. And Rick's like, that's it? I'm like, my legs are asleep. So she comes over and helps me up, and then we walk out. I never saw Rick again. Rick didn't get us the NSYNC passes.
What's the fuck,
That's,
Rick?
I don't know if that's illegal. But it's definitely, I mean, it's horrible, but I don't know if that's, you know what I mean?
I don't think it's illegal.
He coerced you into a blowjob.
But I could have said no. There was consent.
But this should be one of those podcasts where we're like, because of your story, bring out Justin Timberlake, and we get to meet Justin Timberlake. That's
and then Justin Timberlake's like, you did what? Polygrip? I really loved it.
He's like, I'm not sure this is good for my image.
I don't think
Did you tell this story on stage?
I don't.
You need to.
Because after this guy hated me from college, I'm sitting at a party and I'm drinking a beer and I'm talking to some dude and I'm having a nice time, and in walks Burke. Sorry, Burke, if you ever listen to this. I think Burke deleted me or blocked me on everything anyway, but he walks into the party with his buddy Chris, and they see me and they yell, raise your hand if you've ever blown someone for backstage passes to NSYNC. And everyone stops and looks at them and they're like, raise your hand, Kym. And like, I still had like I don't have a lot of shame.
Fuck?
So like, I'm like, okay, like I'm a comic now, so like I think I still had that in me back then, you know what I mean? So
but still,
I raised my hand and everyone was like, And I was like, yeah, I didn't get the passes either. What else you got, Burke? Like, because I feel like you have more power if you, but maybe I should
just like
tell this-
acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, but that's another situation where no chick would ever be like, if you lick my clit, I'll get you backstage passes to Maroon 5. Like, it doesn't go the other way.
No,
That's
never,
horrible.
ever would.
But yeah, men, it's
horrible,
it's
right?
men's
So
job
First
to
penis.
use it's men's job to use what they have to get laid. But it is also our job to do it ethically. Like, a guy should be able to charm a girl and have great sex.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't have to lie about getting her backstage passes. Now, if he was actually like part of the band, he was the sound guy, and he's like, but not giving you the contingency to blow him, you might blow him because you're having a fun time at fake,
like let's
know?
have a good time. Exactly.
It's not the blow job, it's the what the fuck you did to get to the blow job.
And
And then there's a fine line too, because like sometimes it's just like transactional. Like, you have this thing that I want, and I can do this thing for you that you want, and okay, it's transactional. It's sort of like, it's prostitution. It's the oldest profession in the history of the world, right?
Yeah.
But then there's like the Harvey Weinsteins of the world that's like, you're not gonna have a career unless
I'm gonna ruin you, yeah.
right? Like, that's different. There's
Versus somebody like Chris Helmsworth, who's attractive and at the top of his game, and he can attract good women because of his place in society.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to use it in a way that's like, it's just there. It's like, all right, this
it's
guy's
not like coercion or like.
I always wonder, though, what does Rick tell people about his first blowjob? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's somewhere in the world. He's probably alive. He's probably married.
He omits that he promised backstage passes to NSYNC.
He probably doesn't tell that part. I don't know. I literally never saw him again. And
Have you ever had any guys that were just like embarrassingly fast? That were they call them 2-pump chumps in the.
but he was like my boyfriend. Like, he was my like boyfriend, or was going to become my boyfriend.
Was he always quick, or did it just?
It was the first time.
Oh, first time.
Like, where it was the first time. It was morning. And wow, so weird. I haven't thought about this guy in so long. Like, I loved him so much. I was like 23. It's the morning, and we start, and then all of a sudden I blink, and he's thrown me on the other side of the bed, and he's on the other side, and he's got his hands up, and he's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what happened? And he was like, I came. I'm like, you did?
It was on first insertion?
It was like literally like boom, boom, done.
Yeah.
But he had told me, he was like, I literally have never had sex sober. And this was my first sober sex, and just happened. And I was
you could be wildly into something, and it's, I mean, you see, like we always mention, you see other animals, the bison, one fucking pump and he falls over for an hour.
Yeah,
like,
I
you
saw
see it.
like some mountain
maybe not the
lions.
bison, but yeah, they just shake and they're done. Have you ever seen animals have sex? It's like, so it's obviously they don't care about pleasing the woman, and it's not.
It's literally like a 1
How quick
second
can I
thing.
spread my seed? Our sponsor, we have a sponsor, is giving out presents to our guests. This is a Promescent. It's a company that makes genital desensitizing spray. Now the main
This for your
ingredient
man.
is lidocaine, and what happens is the guy sprays it on his dick and then waits a few minutes, and it kind of absorbs into his skin, and it helps numb him so he can last longer. It's not just for people with premature ejaculation problems, it's also for people that just want to have sex longer. So women have the vibrators.
This is mine?
That's yours. You get to have
Thanks. What is it? How do you say it?
Promescent.
Promescent.
So this is my live read that I'm giving it to you. And if anyone wants to buy this Promescent, or by the way, I'll be giving it away at the next Mimosa stand-up show, which we'd love to have you come do stand-up on a
I would
Mimosa
love
show.
that. I see that, and I love that. I would love that.
We've been, which by the way, we've been ripped off. There's another Mimosa stand-up show out there that's doing it at the same exact time, at the same exact venue.
No, what?
So come support our show. Yeah, I mean, what's it? Flattery, imitation, whatever. Let me do my copy read. Go to delayspray.com if you guys want to buy some of your own Promescent. Make love longer. For 15% off, the voucher is SAP15. I'll put the info in the description. Delayspray.com, SAP15. I've used it, and I mean, you don't numb your dick. It's not like your dick's numb. It's just not as much pleasure for the guy, because that's the issue, is the climax gap. Guys come in 5 minutes, women take 18. That's the gap. Yeah. That's the average gap.
That's
right?
the average. Really,
and 5 minutes is generous for men. I mean, like your boy over there. If a guy's really excited and kind of gets off in the starting blocks too fast, if you know what I mean, he's gonna shoot a rocket off real quick. It can happen. I mean, not always, but it can happen.
Yeah, sometimes you're just excited. You've been looking forward to this all day. You've been texting titty pictures, ready to go.
So keep that in your arsenal, because they got all these things for
How
women.
did it feel for you, though? Like, did he do anything to like?
No,
you didn't feel
the
it?
important part is like that he puts it on and waits a few minutes. Because if he like puts it on and then like just shoves it in, then you're gonna be numb too, and
Then
that's not good for everybody.
Then her clam's got Bell palsy, as I've been saying. She looks like a stroke victim
That's
down
not
there.
funny.
That's stupid. It's really
say
is funny.
that's not
Yeah,
funny?
she's laughing. It's funny. It's what we like to keep. You keep an arsenal of products that you need. We had all these products given to us, right? We had all these sex products, it was all these female, which is great. You know, you want to please
Yeah,
the
we've
women.
got a bunch of things that vibrate and
But it's like imagine using like a what's it called, like a
jackhammer?
Yeah, thank you. The charades here. Imagine using a jackhammer on like a cement sidewalk, and then the guy comes in with his own little brush. Like men are very intimidated by the weapons that women get to use on their vagina. I mean, there's some weapons.
I try not to now because someone told me it like desensitizes your vagina.
Well,
if you,
I think
your,
that
if you
like
use a
if you get too used, well, it's the same thing that they say for like masturbation, right?
Oh,
like if
really?
you get too, if you're like too used to like how you like it and you never try it any other way, then like you will only like it one way.
Really? I didn't know that.
Same with guys, like who jerk off too much, then like they're not even satisfied by sex because it's not like as fast as the way they jerk off or something.
Unless you're like a psycho who does like jerk off edging videos on YouPorn, which
Oh
is
my
like
God, I've watched
these
those.
videos where
Not
they're basically like jazzercise. It's like, all right, for the next 10 seconds, you know, slowly jerk it, and then it counts down, and it's like, now a quick jerk, but hold your and it's
Be honest, have you done this?
once. Okay, I tried it out once, and then if you do last
so
long,
weird. I've watched it.
but if you do last to the end, you can build like a better orgasm as a guy, because I feel like the longer you
Do
wait.
they have this for women, or is this strictly a guy thing?
No, women, they have Hulu. You watch your period piece shows, whatever the cable cars, whatever Spanish telenovela. Tasha loves these Spanish telenovelas.
Wait, what?
That's her porn.
Is
That's
that
her
what you
porn.
think? That's what she masturbates to when you're not around?
I don't
Just
think
like,
she does.
ease-
I'd be happy if she does, but I don't think there's too often that I catch her, right clicking the old mouse.
I catch you every 2 weeks in the shower.
Yeah, she got me in the shower once. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah,
what do
it
you
was-
do? How did you
Oh, the
catch him? You
face
just
I
went in
made.
there and you're like, that doesn't bother you though, right?
It does not bother me at all, but the embarrassment that he felt was just so apparent, written all
Yeah,
over
what guy
his
wants? It's such a vulnerable place to be with yourself, and then that happens, and then
It's like you're 12 all over again.
I remember
and you're
Tasha
like,
walked in, and I rolled over and pretended like I was tying my shoes. I was naked. I had no shoes. I was like, I gotta get going. I was like picking my toes. Just like, what am I
Did you
doing?
know you were like, but there's some women who get mad about that, right?
I mean, if you're not,
About-
I'll say this: if Tasha's like, we need to have sex, and I'm like, no thanks, and she catches me jerking off in the shower, I would think that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's different. Like if you have a healthy sex life, everyone feels satisfied, you're open and honest with each other, nobody's going to get offended about masturbation. Who cares? But yeah, I can totally see a scenario where like you've been married 10 years and like you haven't had sex in 3 months and you walk in and you catch your husband masturbating. And you're like, what the hell?
Why wouldn't
like,
you just
try and initiate with me? Maybe take me out on a date, massage my shoulder, see where it goes,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different orgasm, obviously. I feel like it's probably the same for women. If you wanted to have like a solo experience, it'd be different. It's just different. So like if but also like, yeah, no one needs to be spending hours on YouPorn watching these edging videos. It's like, yeah, I can totally see where the addiction can come from with porn and all that. It's really all in your face. It's there, and it can be so time consuming. But every once in a while, you got to throw rope and go to work, guys. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, you're like, you don't want to have when I used to drive Uber. It's like I don't want to have a boner driving Uber. I want to throw rope and listen to sports talk radio for 9 hours. You know what I mean? Anybody? Are you out there?
No, I don't watch that much porn, I don't think.
Back to you. What's your dating life like now? What are you up to? What's going on?
Oh God, it doesn't exist. I don't know. I liked. Wow, it's so complicated. It's not. I'm single. I don't know why it's. But I just realized at the beginning of the year, I like codependent men who don't want to be happy, and that's not good. I know that, but I realize like all of my boyfriends have been that. Just like
So guys that
That's
get
such a
their
type.
happiness because of you, because of being needy and being with you, is that what you're saying?
needy, the codependency, but the not want to be happy. Like I'm gonna crash this plane of my life. Like I'm gonna constantly do things that aren't good for my happiness.
What do you think it is about you that's like finding these kind of men attractive? Do you have like a fixer sort of?
Yeah, I grew up. My parents are addicts. My mom's alcoholic and my dad addict, but he's dead. So like I grew up in I think an environment where it was fixer. It was like it's scary to be happy. Like for me, you know what I mean? Like I did a reality show a couple years ago with a matchmaker, relationship coach. And not for the show, but I had just broken up with someone and I asked him, I was like, hey, why do you think I'm single, whatever? He goes, it sounds like you date down. Like you date people that are below you because you're scared of what could happen if you date someone. Like I'm scared of, me too. I'm scared of being happy. I'm scared of
And it is, I totally can relate to finding like, I find it challenging to like be vulnerable. So like, I know that if I was dating someone who I felt out of my league, I would just feel insecure all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like if I date someone that's below me, then
it's comfortable.
So
Hold on a
It's
second.
on
Hold
your
on a
same
second.
level.
I was like nodding with her, and then I go, wait a second.
I'm her boyfriend.
You're saying you'd rather not date a guy who's out of your league. So, what are you saying about me?
I'm saying you're at my level,
Okay,
babe.
all right. So you're turning down dick. That's more successful, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's super
All right, easy.
intimidating to be around people who are like out of your league. It just is. It makes you feel like inadequate all the time, or like you find yourself in a situation where you're just like constantly turning inward with judgy eyes, and like it feels weird. Nobody wants to feel that way. You don't want to have to like compare yourself to like the person you're dating and their peers and be like, oh my God, like I just don't fit in here.
Yeah.
You know?
And then if you're like, I don't know if I want to say scared of being scared of being happy, but I feel safer and like, because I was so abandoned as a child, I know, like, I feel safer in abandonment role. You know if that makes sense? Like, it's a weird cycle where I only pick people that will abandon me, but I do everything I can to get them not to abandon me, but then they'll abandon me.
So do you find yourself to be codependent?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so now I'm working through it. I'm in therapy, 12 steps. I'm like doing a bunch of stuff about it because I keep picking these guys. And then a couple of weeks ago, this is a story, but it's such a good like recovery if you're in the 12-step world, or such a good like growth. I liked this guy and it lasted maybe 3 weeks, and we only hung out a couple of times, but each time I felt really like, I felt confused, gaslight. There was a lot of gaslighting, a lot of like one night we went out, he got a rose for me from the street rose people in Hollywood. He knew her because he's bartended for 10 years in Hollywood. He knew her. He hugged her. They don't go to the bathroom together, but they both leave. And she comes over and hands me a rose. And I was like, oh, I didn't get a rose. I thought she was selling it. I was like, oh, no, thank you. And she goes, oh, someone bought it for you. I was like, oh, thank you. And then he came back. I'm like, did you get me a rose? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh. And he's like, I don't know who got you the rose, but I didn't do it. He's like, I know her. Why would I?
Trying to be funny?
I don't know. And that's another.
So you don't even know who the rose came from?
Oh, after a half hour of me feeling like I was insane, he goes, just kidding. I got you that rose. Like, the whole thing was kind of that way. And like, it was always, my upper lip is so sweaty. So I keep doing this. And when it's like summertime, people think I have a coke problem. I just have a sweaty upper lip.
I'm sure the guy liked that backstage blowjob, sweaty upper lip.
Oh, Jesus. So, and then I saw him. So I saw him on the day, I saw him on my father's death anniversary was 2 weeks ago. It gets grim, but I promise you it will come back. I saw him so I had texted him a couple of times and he never responded. So it was kind of like, I was sad, and I was like, oh, rejection and all that normal human stuff. But I let it go, which is cool for my like growth. Like normally it would be like, well, I got to make this guy love me because he's obviously going to abandon me. And so I was just like, let it go. But I run into him the day of my dad's anniversary. And it's a weird day if you have a dead parent. Like I go to the beach where my dad loved that place. And then I spend the day with him and taking care of myself, if that makes sense.
That sounds so sweet.
It's so good. And we had our show that night, so I like went and did that, and then I went out with my buddy, and then we ended up running into this guy at another bar, a bar that we both know the owner. That's important for the story. So I run into him and I'm like, oh, hey. And he's like, he's like, oh, hey. And then he's like, why are you being so weird? And I was like, well, I kind of feel like I'm ambushing you. I didn't think I was going to run into you. And I've texted you several times and you haven't responded. And he goes, no, I always respond to you when you text me. I was like, well, I text you several times and I haven't gotten a response. He's like, not true. I wouldn't do that.
Oh my God. I hate this person. And I was so hard.
And I was just like,
not true.
Okay.
Like, I can't roll my eyes hard enough.
Right? And I was like, okay. And he goes, well, let's check. And I'm like, so he checks and he goes, oh, that was last Thursday. I was blacked out, hammered on Thursday. I didn't text anybody back. And I went, I don't want to date a 44-year-old man
Who's blacked out.
who's blacked out on a blacked out in general, but on a Thursday and so drunk that. And so I was like, okay. So then we're sitting there, and he goes, "You're still kind of acting weird." And I'm like, "Today's my dad's death anniversary." And he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." You know, the human thing. And then he goes, I try to tell him a nice story, right? And the bar owner is standing close to us, which we both know. He's not talking to us, but he's close enough. And the guy goes, "Shh, Lee's mom died." And I went, "Oh God, when?" And he goes, "This week." And I'm like, "Lee's what?" And he goes, "Just kidding. It was like 6 months ago."
Just weird jokes.
Yeah.
What is wrong with this dude?
It's shameful, embarrassing. I'm sorry. It's kind of a long story, but, it's like, I was so ashamed on how I responded to the next few things. So he was like, "Just kidding." And I was like, "Oh, if it was 6 months ago." I'm like, he's a part of the Dead Parent Club. Once you're a part of that, you kind of it's hard for people who haven't experienced it, but you're pretty like numb to it. Not numb to it, but just not as like, "Oh my God, what?" And then he goes, "You know what, Kym? This is too much for me." Gets up and walks to the other side of the bar. Now, there's no one really at this bar because my buddy had left at this point because he thought I was with the dude I liked. So he was like, "Yeah, Jason's got you. I'll go." So there's like one dude at the bar, me and this. So I'm sitting there like with my wine being like, and it's already a fragile day for me. I'm already like, I already have that tendency to be like, I should apologize for shit I shouldn't apologize for.
You ordered the wine and you're not going anywhere for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
So I walk over to like, I don't know, but this is where the growth is. And this is where I'm like, okay, well, I am shifting and changing, especially. So I walk over and like, I'm aware of right? So I walk over and I'm like, I don't feel good about what just happened. And he literally it gets so much more embarrassing. He turns his back on me and starts talking to the bartender. And I stand there like, and again, this is a hard day for me anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I just go back and sit down with my wine, and I'm sitting there, and then he comes over and he goes, "I'm going to leave," hugs me from behind, whispers in my ear, "I really do hope you're okay." Leaves. Now we're neighbors. I thought he drove, right? He always drives. Oh my God. I'm embarrassed, but I'm happy now where I'm like, I'm learning my worth, which is so shameful.
Never too late.
Never too late. But it's so shameful to admit this. But like,
but like everybody goes through this process of realizing that you are worth more than like this bullshit.
Like what the hell? So I decide I want to walk home, right? Just because I'm like, I just want to walk home, clear my head. This was all really weird. I'm just going to walk home. I start walking. He's 50 feet in front of me. And I'm like, oh, man. So I text him. I'm like, "You're in front of me. You're like 50 feet in front of me." He looks at his phone and puts it away. And I was like, "I can literally see you." Then he stops. He's like, "I was just going to wait for you." And I was like, okay. So then we start walking. And I'm like, I just feel like I owe you. And like, sometimes I feel bad because I did have a weird childhood. So I'm kind of numb to like things that bum other people out that I don't see as like, because I'm just so like, oh yeah, that's fine. And I'm a comic. And so I was like, I had kind of a weird childhood. He goes, "Everybody had a weird childhood." And I went, "You never let me finish a sentence. It's really starting to bother me." And he goes, "You're right. I'll let you finish it." And I go, "All right, well, I had a weird childhood." He goes, "You know what? Can't do it. It's too much." Leaves me in the middle of the street, walks across the street. Now we have to walk parallel for like 3 blocks of just like, I'm like, but that was the moment where I'm like, our best friends are best friends. So everyone thought we were like meant to be. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do? I don't owe anybody an explanation. I haven't heard from him since.
Yeah.
If this
just
was like
delete
a
that number and move on.
If this was a rom-com,
I haven't talked to him. Yeah.
I wouldn't
never have
I wouldn't
to talk to the
believe
person.
if he was playing like the asshole in a rom-com, I wouldn't believe that exists.
That's a real
I'm like,
person.
You're playing asshole too hard. You need to have some redeeming qualities.
Like, what?
Well, some people are just like, I don't know, if psychopaths, sociopath, I don't know, but like some people literally cannot deal with like give any empathy to like a human connection where but you're just like me where you'll be apologizing up until it's like even psychotic levels of apology where you're still trying to be like, nah, this isn't good for me. I need to know more. And they're like, look, I'm gonna keep on being an asshole to you.
I'm the worst. Please let me know I'm the worst.
I'm the same
not you, but I mean, I'm not saying, but the person is like,
yeah,
I'm the worst. I'm gonna keep showing you I'm the worst, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm still sorry. But
and the best thing to do would be once you know that to just like left turn, peace out of there. But you have to have that shit slapped in your face and feel embarrassed.
Yeah, but it's great because now I'm like, okay, well, you still have some things to work on. And I don't feel sad about that's the growth that I'm not like still being like,
You're not beating yourself up over it.
I'm like, we learned a lesson. That guy's not the droid you're looking for. Let's move on. And maybe don't the first time someone gaslights you on a date, the rose thing should have been the red flag.
Yeah, why?
Like,
what fun do people get out of that?
Have you had any relationships that you thought were like the one?
Yeah.
And it just didn't pan out. But like, did you go through the motions? Have you been engaged or married at all?
No, I was on and off with a guy for like 10 years from college.
That's a long time.
Yeah, but it was very on and off. It was very like up and down. Like we we were never together. But we like I don't know, like 3 years ago we had like a big college reunion and we're all sitting around like talking, and he's there. He's now married with kids. Like we're old friends. I have lunch with him once a year or whatever, and I've met his older kid. And out of nowhere he proclaims, he's like, Kym and I were in a relationship. We were in a relationship. And everyone turns and looks at him, and I was like, yeah, Adam, literally everyone here knew that except you. It's so funny. It took you 2 kids and a marriage and you and I being apart for like, so that guy, and he told me if I moved home he'd marry me. And I
Did you ever think about that? If you didn't live in Los Angeles, if you would be like settled down in a white picket fence and all that bullshit?
No. I mean, I do, but no, I don't want that.
Yeah, I'm not asking you, like, I'm not trying to project on you, like, how things are supposed to be. The other day we were talking about our family, and Tasha goes, we don't have a family. I go, you don't need a kid I saw, like, this meme where it was like, you don't need a kid to have a family. It's like, we got a dog. We have us. This is us right now. We're
family,
like this is the podcast, patreon.com/thesap. Join our family for $8 a month. You can join our family. But
is that what it is, $8 a month?
We have different tiers, but that gets people all the extra weekly episodes that we do and all that shit. But anyway, that I wasn't trying to insert a plug, but I always do. But yeah, that's our thing. And it's like, my sister's got 4 kids, and she's got her family, but ours is kind of like, our family's like just us. Like, we were actually driving by, this is funny, we were driving by a pro-lifer today, which is like good.
Here?
Yeah. And we were like,
they had a bunch of bumper stickers on the back of their car.
What did it say? Like life is not a choice?
I don't know. Something about like it's a baby, not a choice.
Oh yeah. The bumper sticker said it's a baby, not a choice. And like, look, we've already had this discussion a million times. Go have at it. But then I was driving by, and at the stoplight, I want to be like, oh, we're single. Our choice is the beach. We're going to the beach. You're
Should have yelled that. Was it a man or a woman?
It was a man driving and a woman in the passenger seat, but it was like a big minivan, and I was like, they have 8 kids. They can't go to the beach.
Dude, I honestly think 99% of men are pro-choice.
Yeah.
I think if you're a pro-lifer as a guy and you're not a politician, like trying to win over people, I think you're doing it because your mom or your wife or whatever, it's just like easier to just be, all right, we're pro-life. Like, it's easier than having that thought. And also the pro-choice people, choice is the wrong word. That's you know what I mean? It's fucking the fact that they call it pro-choice like changes what I think it is.
The fact that they call it pro-life changed.
Yeah, the fact that they one side kind of owns life. It's like, geez, you guys got life. That's a hard one to fight against. But
I think
anyway.
those are also like hot button words. Like, I worked for Planned Parenthood for a long time, and it was like Planned Parenthood says anti-choice. Like, you're anti-choice, you're not pro-life.
Yeah.
Like, that's
yeah.
like, so it's just like propaganda, kind of like, just to like, it's like the Partial Birth Abortion Act. That's not a medically accurate term. It's just to rile up the right side.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's like, I think a lot of those are just like hot button topics.
Yeah, they make stuff up.
How
just
is it
to,
like working over there?
I raised money for him. It was good. It was really weird around political time. It was 15 years ago. It was during the Bush administration.
Wow.
And so, which is so cute now. Such a cute thing, but like, it was like very like for the pack and all that. And I talked to a lot of couples. Like, you would call people and you would be like, why do you donate? That was the first, just to get a rapport or whatever. And a lot of this, I talked to a lot of ex-cops who were like men who were like, I donate to Planned Parenthood because I lived in a time that abortion was not legal, and I was tired of picking up the pieces of a back alley abortion and like what like that meant, and that I feel like I'm getting really deep and dark.
I just got chills.
We talk about this stuff all the time. Yesterday I was listening to like 90s music, and I was talking to some strangers. We were just like shooting the shit at my side gig about how how fucking easy we had it in the 90s. I was like, it was like in the 90s we had to early 90s my school had to ban slap bracelets. Remember slap bracelets?
Why'd they ban those?
Because
you were getting slapped out of the blue.
But like, that was the biggest thing. Slap bracelet. Now they got bulletproof backpacks. You know what I mean? It was like the biggest thing was banning
bulletproof backpacks.
They sell them at Staples.
They sell them at Staples. Sorry to be I stare at you. You're like,
No, it's like it's back to school time, and like that's a thing that they're like advertising.
Some bulletproof like Kevlar Trapper Keeper. Do you remember Trapper Keepers?
I loved my
That was
I
my
think
shit.
about my Lisa
Frank.
Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper once a week. I'm like,
Let me
why
tell you
did
something.
I get rid of that
I went
thing?
to Disneyland when I was a kid. When I lived on the East Coast, I had family lived in Newport Beach. We went to Disneyland, and I got this Mickey Mouse pencil holder. But this is like, you know what I mean? This is pre-technology, right? There was 10 different buttons on it. Each button like was like spring loaded. One shot out a razor, well, like not a razor, a eraser, and then like the other one would like shoot out a calendar. But you had to like write tiny because there's like all Mickey Mouse shit, and it was like padded. And I brought this pencil holder to class every day, and just like people were looking at me like I was the fucking bee's knees. Life was easy back then. It's a little different now. I don't know. Maybe we're just being old thinking about that because obviously not every kid's sporting bulletproof backpacks, but it's something that I think that's ridiculous.
I mean,
but
how old are you? I don't know how. Do we say how old?
what do I like to say? Late, early to mid 30s. I'm 34.
Okay, I'm 37.
I'm younger than Dave.
That's for Tasha.
Okay.
She's less than. She's
I've never been an age. Like I've always like, oh, we're supposed to not tell people how old we are, and I don't look my age, so it never really bothers me.
Yeah, I'm very surprised to hear 37.
37's a fun year. I mean, now because Ken's a little bit older than you.
Yeah, I think he's 42.
And so he's divorced. I love your dynamic. We loved being on your show. Can people still find that? Is it? Are they on demand?
Archive
or they just?
them,
We started archiving them. I know we got all of them on. I don't know if we got you. We lost like 10 episodes. Not lost, but we just have to go to Dash and get them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they should be.
Are you still
on
over at Dash?
Yeah.
So because we're gonna get out of here in a few minutes, but we're already getting there. It's
oh my gosh,
we got like 8 to 10 minutes left for you. But I wanted to get your plugs in before then, and we'll just kind of trail off on our own. So. How can people find you? How can people find the podcast?
The podcast is on iTunes, Spotify, all the podcast stuff. It's the Kym and Ken show. Kym is Kym. God, I almost went Y, and then I was expecting you to say that's our plug we do on our thing.
Oh, you expected us to know.
And then Ken goes Y, and I go because I'm pretty, or like we say.
All right, try it again. I'll be Ken.
It's a Kym.
Y.
Oh,
do I do Y?
I don't know. I can never.
Okay, I'm gonna do Y. Do it again. What's the name? How do you spell it?
It's Kym.
Why?
Because I'm special. I always come up with something new, and then everyone's like, and the guest never knows, and the guest is like, it's funny.
I like it.
And so you can find it there, and then we're live Monday nights on Dash Radio. You just download the app; it's free. It's like Sirius, and then we're on the Dash Comedy 7 to 9.
Yeah, you guys got
a
a great vibe going over there. We really liked going over there.
Yeah,
we
come back.
We don't do
come
much.
back live. You guys did a pre-record, so come back live.
Yeah.
It's much more fun.
We get asked to do a bunch, but I don't know. We do some here and there, but it's so hard to get our time right together.
Yeah, it's just scheduling.
But but you and Ken, like, why? Like, you guys you have good chemistry. You guys never considered dating?
No. Well, actually, I can tell it. We tell this story all the time, so it's not. The thing I appreciated most about Ken, and I think why we're so close, is we started hanging out, and then it was like 3 or 4 times hanging out. I just thought friends, and then one night he walked me to my car, and he just said, "What are we doing here?" And I went, "What do you mean?" He goes, what is this? Do we like each other? Are we dating? He's like, I'm not invested either way. I just don't want to go in my apartment and overanalyze everything that happened for the next 3 days. So I'd rather just find out where your head's at. And I was like, and we're both Ken's sober, and I don't really drink when I'm around Ken. So we're both sober. It's not like a drunk that sounds like a very drunk conversation.
Yeah, it sounds like you just want to know what's up.
Yeah. And it was I thought about it, and I went, typically this stuff goes south. I don't want to lose you as a friend, so I'd prefer to just stay friends. And he said, cool.
Oh, and that's very sweet.
And I went inside, and it like you would think even like maybe the next day it would be like, is it weird? And it just never was.
And then the next day he sends you a dick pic. That's how it goes.
I have several of those.
Well,
from him.
you do.
Just kidding.
He seems like a very evolved guy. He's been on the podcast a couple times. I don't know if he's been on with Tasha. We did it over at the Improv. We recorded an episode a while ago. Yeah, it's been a bit. It's crazy to think because he was like a married and then got into stand up. I mean, like lives can change and we evolve. And he seems, you see photos of him. He's got the leather jacket on. He's got the beard, and he's like, he looks so different than his early. You know what I mean? Like he looks so much cooler. Like he's like L.A.'d Ken. He's like queer-eyed for the straight guy Ken. You know what I mean? Versus like what he was when like his early photos of like when he was performing in Chicago. Like he was
when he had the hair around here, like hair Ken, but it was like the weird bald. Like,
Really?
now he shaves his head. He's an evolved Ken.
Yeah. Ken did the first one of the first Mimosa shows we did, but yeah, you should definitely jump on. Are you, this one's going to come out next week, so I don't have the September date yet, but we'll find the date and you should definitely do it.
God,
We'd love to have you.
I'd love to.
We're going to be doing them at the new Fourth Wall Cafe. Have you heard of this
I heard
place?
about that. Someone sent me a picture of it the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but it looks like it'll be a little coffee shop with a stand-up club.
Where is it? I heard Hollywood.
It's up on
Western?
Hollywood. No, I think it's. I don't know exactly where it is, but it opens tomorrow, so I'm gonna go stop by for a panini.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, it opens tomorrow.
What day of the week is it?
Tomorrow's Monday.
Tomorrow's Monday. Wow, that's
Yeah.
Well, you know how this life is.
But
where
this
you're,
episode's
just
gonna
running
come out a
money,
week. This one's gonna come out a week late. Or should we just air this one tonight?
Whatever.
No, I gotta air this one next week because Suba Agarwal, do you know her?
Yeah.
She's doing the
great.
Mimosa show, so I already plugged her for August. But we'll get you on the next one, so when people are listening, people can go check you out. And then your Instagram, it's at Kym Kral, KymKral. Is that right?
Yes.
I wrote you down on my dry erase board. Isn't that
I know.
sweet?
I felt very
As if I wasn't
official.
gonna remember. I got a dry erase board. I'm like, I'm gonna use it for a month and then forget I have it.
It looks like you're really using it. It's
Yeah,
good.
it didn't come with those lines. I added those. Those are tape lines. I added that.
Oh,
So
it's
every month I can
tape?
change it. Yeah.
You should be really proud of that.
I am very proud of it. And then I wrote that the SAP was rated number 34 on the iTunes charts for comedy interviews.
That's great.
We're now in the 80s, but when I wrote it, we were 34. We actually got up. We actually got up to 23.
Why did we
Well,
go down?
here's what happens, folks listening. Here's what happens. Your rating is only based on new subscribers. So if you get on a roll and get a couple new subscribers, you pump up. So like we'll go in the comedy section, we'll go from like 1,400 to 900. So just a little bit of an effort from an audience and getting a new audience, we'll jump 400 or 500 spots.
So guys, please share with a friend. Just if everybody just tells one friend, we'll be number 1 on the charts.
And you can do it on.
And just subscribe. It takes 2 seconds, and it means the world. Like it means so much to
help me brainstorm. I'm thinking of a way to double my subscribers in one day. That's the goal. I'm thinking about going to Hollywood Boulevard with like a sign and just literally asking, because they always say like with sales, you have to ask for the sale. Like you have to ask like, hey, will you subscribe to my podcast? It's free. You can listen on your flight home.
Yeah.
No, and then people go, no, then it's not. I'm not Greenpeace. It just and then I was thinking maybe I'll do like a slotted list where I can have like people like sign up to come hang with me for an hour during the day, and I'll just go all day long and see what it does to the charts. I don't know, because I'm not desperate, but I feel like I need that. I feel like I need to fight the battle because I don't have a network behind us. I don't have all that other shit behind us. We don't get press. We just do what we do. We're not like the super niche podcast. What a niche.
I'm the wrong person.
The super niche podcasts are the ones that it's like if we had a podcast on how to shine bowling balls, we'd be featured in Bowling Ball magazine. You know what I mean? But like because we're just like and I don't want to sacrifice the comedy side of things, because in the end we want people to show up to the show and like us on the comedy level. But at the same time, if you can give someone value with comedy humor, but also like talk about some real shit like we talked about, dick sizes, getting blown to go see Justin Timberlake. That's like
the whole band, by the way.
No.
Like that's overlooked.
Justin, okay.
That might have been that might have been one of the cooler stories we've heard so far. You really got to figure out how that's on do that on stage. You have to.
Yeah, the flipper. I mean, that's gold.
Oh God, and I still taste what that polygrip tastes like.
But I just love the idea of this girl
So
being like,
down.
raise your hand if you. It's just like Jesus Christ, people are mean.
Oh, so mean.
Yeah.
And then everyone, like, thank God I'm funny and I have a tough skin, because I was just like, well, and I still feel like I took away his power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, he has no more ammo.
Yeah.
Look, Burke, I'm not embarrassed about it. I obviously, I
Did
was.
he finish? Did
no,
the guy
no
didn't
one
finish?
finished.
No one
I
finished.
don't know why I would have finished. I was fully clothed and like, and I was sitting like cross-legged, fully clothed. Like it wasn't, but like, yeah, I don't.
Well, we're gonna finish right now. We're all finished. People listening, finish. Thank you so much for doing the show. Come on again. Maybe you and Ken should come on, or we should do like a group,
I would
foursome
love
or whatever.
that.
We'll do
Yeah,
that.
that'd be really
But
fun.
we'd love to come back to you do yours. Yours is
Please.
the plastic. Everyone listening, go check out their podcast, the Kym and Ken show. It's everywhere, or it's with Dash Radio?
It's Dash. It's not it's Dash Live, because
Okay.
Dash is radio, and then it's iTunes, SoundCloud, and then
Great.
what's the other one?
Just
Podcast or whatever.
there,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's all of them. If you just,
Search it, find it, go support them, leave them a nice comment and all that. And your
Please.
Instagram at Kym Kral, KymKral. Tell her you heard her on here. And thanks again for doing the show. We
thank you
appreciate
guys.
it.
This is so much fun.
Yeah.
This is therapeutic too. I feel like how some things go.
We finally finished. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.